Hi everybody, Gisele Grenier here from artplace.ca. Well, now that we've painted backgrounds on the front and back of every page in my Strathmore journal, now it's time to take this paper that was on my desk, and which is the result of painting all those backgrounds, and I cover up the covers. The unfortunate thing is that the paper isn't wide enough to do the full front and back, which is fine because this is really the only interesting part of the whole piece. So I'm going to be taking these and mounting them to the front. I'll wrap things around as best I can on these sides, and then I can always put something in front. I'll probably end up putting maybe a pocket here for some notes or something like that. Where I'm running into a challenge is this part here, where I can't really wrap paper around it because I don't have one of those fancy punches that would punch squares like this. I've been told that there are punches that will make the actual, like, to punch the paper like this. I use an arc punch, which is a specific punch for an arc journal. Then I have these from the Canson book that I was using for the background series last year, and they fit perfectly except they're too short. So I could have just used that to embellish it, but you know, if I can work this down, I can tie something on this one. So, but you know what, that's too complicated. Because this cover will be, I'll be building it up as I go. I'm not going to finish the cover today. I will be building it up over this series of creating all the backgrounds. That I'll just wrap the paper, and then as the whim grabs me to do something on it, then I'll just do it. In the meantime, when I put the paper on, I'll just basically gesso over, just from here over the back, which will make the paper even stronger. So in the meantime, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to lightly sand the top. And I just have a sandpaper with a block. Don't need to buy those fancy sandpaper block holders. And I'm using 120 grit, which is pretty fine. It's not the finest, but it is pretty fine. And all we're doing is taking off the shine. That's all we're doing. Just taking off the shine. Now, if you use your hand to do this, you're focusing the pressure where your fingers are. Okay, so for small areas, that's great. But to get an even sanding, you use a block like this. If you're sanding on something very thin, if your table's got lumps and bumps, the sanding block will accentuate those bumps on the paper through your cover. This is a solid cover, so it's okay. But see these little scratches here? That's because this paper is well worn. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because all I'm doing is removing a finish. But there is, oh, there it is. It's right there. It's a nail. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, well, it's a nail. There we go. And this is just going to help the paper stick to the cover. Although the decoupage is great on its own. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at this. I'm liking this better. Putting the paper on. Maybe I'll put the paper on the inside. Look at that. And I'm getting all excited. This is the first time I've ever worked with the Strathmore journal, so this is all new for me. You know what? Could we do this? Oh, you know what? I'm probably going to regret it. I'm probably going to regret it. Could I take a stencil and... Do I have a stencil that doesn't really mean anything to me? Not really. Okay, let's take a little one. I'm just going to use a little one. Let's just put my initial. I don't know if this is going to work. I'm just going to try it. Why not? It doesn't hurt any. I don't want to ruin the stencil. Yeah, you would need to wrap it around a toothpick or something. It does sort of work, but what would be better is taking some modeling paste or the paintable texture and going over that. Then you can paint it and sand that. Okay, well, I tried it. I didn't really ruin my stencil. I just wanted to try it. Sorry about that. Just wanted to try to see what would happen. Okay, where's that nail? Here we go. I've got the little pointing up. So that's cool. Might as well do the inside. Now, what I could do too, if I really like this look, I'll put the cover on this side. That way that'll be the inside. That's what I'm going to do. Now, because I'm on camera and I'm talking, I can't wear a dust mask, but you should wear a dust mask when doing any type of sanding. So you don't inhale the particles. And don't sand where you've got air movement. This inside cover, I can work on it anytime. Okay. So let's move this aside. Got a little container of decoupage medium. It's the matte finish. I've got my little sponge. Now, I'm going to show you something. I forgot my brush in the container, and look what happened. It dried out, and it's stiff as a rock. So I'm going to show you an experiment. It's not really part of the Bob and Doug series, but I'm going to see if I can bring this brush back. I know I can. With 1000+ stain remover, it's hard as a rock. So I'll do that later. And if you have a tack cloth, you can use that to wipe off the dust particles. Otherwise, just a damp cloth. Let's move this aside. And I'm going to grab my palette paper. Okay, pick what you want. So I'm going to pick what I want. And I'm thinking, because this has got the most stuff on it over here, that I'm going to pick what will give me the biggest wrap. Keeping in mind, I'm not wrapping around the edge, so I can really take advantage of a lot of this stuff. And there is no right or wrong way. You just got to pick what works for you. This is probably good. It's kind of hard to judge when you really don't have anything to base it on. Bear with me while I play. I don't care about what's on this side because we're not wrapping it on that side. So I think I'm just gonna, I don't want to lose this stuff though. If I wrap there, and I wrap like that, I want that badly. So I'm stuck now. I want both of these on each of the books. So I'm going to have to share. One will have to, I'll put the one that's not so nice on the back cover. That's what I'll do. Okay, so I'm thinking right about here. So I'm just going to take some scissors. Nothing fancy. I'm just going to cut. And go here. And just cut this. And this one here, I'll just cut right about here. And this uneven piece doesn't matter to me. I can just do this, tear it, doesn't matter whatsoever. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do it like this. And then I'll paint that something else. Let's get a tear going, because we all know how much I prefer torn paper. I've got tear rulers, and which would probably work out much nicer, but I'm lazy. Actually, no, I'm not. Well, yeah. Well, sometimes when it comes to that stuff, I am, but I want it to look more handmade than anything else. I love that. Right there. And I'll be able to do some embellishments as well as time goes on. That looks good. So I don't want to lose too much of this here. So I want to keep all this now. So now I'm at the point now where, okay, well, why don't I just do a torn edge on the whole piece? Because this totally amazed me. Totally amazed me. I love it. Even do it like that. There we go. That's even better. That is even better. I like that. Not keen on the white though. So I'm going to put that aside. And I'm going to do a torn edge there. Ooh, I don't want to lose too much of that. So let's do a tiny torn edge. And I'm lifting the paper, the side that you want the paper to show through, like this edge here. If I want the paper edge to show on this side, tear from this side. If I were to tear from this side like this, the torn edge would be on this side. You could also dampen your paper a little bit, which will help the tear. And this paper is rolled paper from IKEA. It's for my, I bought an extra roll for myself. It's the rolls that you get on the children's easels. And I bought rolls for myself. It's great paper. It's come through for me. It's fixed some emergencies where I needed some paper, and it helped quite a bit. That'll be on the other side, so that's cool. All right, so thinking it's going to be right about here, like so. And I'll tear all those edges. I think this may be a little bit big. Yeah, it's a little bit big. So I was going to finish tearing some more. You can even sand this as well. So this is the grain of the paper, which is why it's so easy to tear on this side like this. Okay, so that's good. So I need to tear right about here. Now this is pretty tedious, and I'd rather not stop filming because then I will lose my mojo. So you can just fast forward to the next segment if you want. But I'm not going to stop filming. There we go. Beauty. Love that. Okay, so all this bits here, I'm going to keep that just in case it comes in handy for something. Like these little pieces here will be great for some collage work when it comes to the actual journaling part. I try not to throw anything away, but sometimes you just have to because it just accumulates. Okay, I'm going to get some... Oh, no, first I have to paint this here because I don't like that. Do I want to paint it first or do I want to paint it last? Well, this is really, really slick, so I need to actually put a sealer on this first. So let me get my multi-surface sealer. And I have to do that on both sides. Let me get my big brush. This will also help the decoupage stick, but I'm more concerned about the paint. I'm going away through all the edges because I'm basically going to be painting all the edges. Oh, this might be a good time to use the multi-surface satins. Oh, that would have been good. Then I wouldn't have needed the sealer. Come on, out there. Yeah, I think that that might be actually a good idea to use those paints for the cover too. The cover, what I'm hoping is that it will be a little bits of every single page that I create in the journal that will end up on the cover somehow, even if it's a drop of paint or a little flower or a pen that I use and I just draw a little heart or something. Now, as a reminder, if you're watching this and if you find that one of the backgrounds you want to use for a non-art journaling project, anything that I teach, unless I specifically say you must use this support, you must use this paper, you must use this Masonite, you must use this canvas, anything that I teach can be done on any support. Oil paintings are aside, that's not included in this. But anything that I teach, you can do that on canvas, Masonite, whatever. Okay, it's not just restricted to art journaling for this particular series. So I'm going to let this dry just for a few seconds, and I'm going to bring out my no stick craft mat, and I'll grab some color, and then we'll paint the outside edge. So I picked my colors, so I'm going to be using the Americana multi-surface satins. I'm going to use orange sherbet, paprika, and coffee bean. Okay, beautiful earth tone colors. Put them out here, and I'm going to do one cover one way and the other cover the other way with different brushes and different styles, just to see. So my goal is basically just to get something on the background to get rid of the white. That's the goal. And I'm going to start off with the orange. And I'm going to do a rough base coat to start. And I don't have to do the entire piece, but I will end up putting a couple of layers on this. Okay, and then the other one, I'll just leave this here because I can heat set it. Then the other one, oops, I can do it with a fan brush, just so you can see the difference. More of the paint on the edge. This one's a little bit easier when you're doing your borders. Now let's do something here. Gonna line that up. I don't know if this is gonna work with this. The brush may not be, oh yeah, it's not too bad. I love these punched edges. Love it. That's cool. And just some playing. I love I find the fan brush, I can be a little bit more loose and free with this. For the purpose of this book, for what I'm doing right now, more layers is better than one heavy, thick layer because it won't dry evenly. So thin, even layers are best. You know, that actually looks cool. I'm not going to do another layer of the orange on this. I don't think so. That's dry already. Holy smokes. I think I'm going to leave that the way it is. Okay, so put that brush in water. Put that aside. Come back on this one. I'm just going to put a little bit here. That I need a little bit more of. I'm doing two completely different covers with the same colors though, so they will be harmonious. But I just want to try a few things. The multi-surface satins are a new line from DecoArt, so it's all about experimenting with these paints. I have yet to find anything they don't work on. For the strength and flexibility of these paints, I I really, really like them. The only thing that I'm not a fan of, and that's just me, they're not single pigments. They're all mixes. So when I want to color mix, believe it or not, it is much harder for me to color mix with these colors because they're all pre-mixed. They're all pre-mixed colors. Okay, just a little bit more. And I'm making sure as I paint that I'm going to fan out this outside edge so I don't get a ridge of paint, like a ridge that comes through the cover. I'm talking about the physical texture. This is almost dry already. Now, if you want to put on another layer and it feels a little bit tacky, you'd be better off actually drying it, because if it's tacky and you try to put more paint on there, you run the risk of lifting up that layer of paint. There's a hair there from a brush. There we go. Okay, and put that in water. Now I'm going to get another fresh fan, another fresh, this brush, and I'm just going to heat set this for a quick sec. Actually, the other one's ready to go. This one's have to alternate. This one only has one layer, the other one has 2 layers. And now I'm just going to go into, this is paprika, wrong brush. And now I'm just going to go, you know what, I much prefer the fan brush. I'm not liking that brush. Bye! Oh yeah, I like this. I'm not going to go all the way though, but I am going to just a little bit of a rub. Now, because it's only the edges that are showing through the paper, in case something happens and the paper ends up being cut shorter, I am going to go in a little bit further. Okay. Wait for it to slightly tack up, and then I can come in and just pick some spots and just remove a little bit of paint. Because I want to put the brown on it, it's going to be a different color where the areas have no paint. Don't worry about in here, just worry about the sides. Okay, put that one aside. Oh, just a little bit tacky. It should be okay. This one's one with the 2 layers of paint. Now it's more of a dry brushing. This one here, I really don't even have to rub. I'm going to let the brush do all the work. Looky, looky, Joe just came home. He brought me paper towels. Oh my god, I got sidetracked. Okay, that takes care of that. Now I'm going to repeat the same thing. I have to quickly throw my brush in water because this was more important to get. And now a little bit of brown and a damp brush, a nice glaze, not everywhere. Ooh, some metallic luster would be really nice here. do this with, again, with these paints, because they're fairly new, I haven't had much time to work with them. Now this takes up more of the paint than anything else. No, so okay, so I'm gonna put that away. Oh, I just spilled paint on my pants. Oopsie. I'm gonna put this here. Yeah, that'll work. And just wipe out little bits here and there. Laying it down, getting the mottled effect on the outside edge. The other thing you can do, now this you'll have to make sure that you wipe and clean right away, is a sponge, dry sponge, but one that's got some attitude, like so. And then just rotate, rotate, rotate. Yeah, I like that. Don't forget, paper is going to be all over this part. I want it to look close. So, see, this part here is it's resisting the paint because it wasn't dry. So I'm just going to put that on and leave it there. And just blot up the excess. Yeah, I like that rough look. Okay, I'm going to put that aside, grab the other one. Now, so I don't waste the paint, I might as well grab this one too and do both. Will it be a little bit darker? Yeah, just a little bit. Not brown enough though. And I have to clean my no stick craft sheet right away, craft mat, because this stuff does stick really well to it. Multi-surface satins will give Ranger a run for their money on this mat. There you go. Immediately in water. And then to clean, it's just a matter of just spraying. As with even when I use my glass sheets, I always spray first, let it sit for a few seconds. On my glass sheet though, I use a blade to remove the paint. And eventually all comes off. Alright, so it's all dry now. Now for the paper. And I'll end up painting some of the edges of the paper as I go. Okay. And I'm going to put decoupage on this. I actually could have put it on the paper first. I just find this is a little bit easier. Make sure you have complete coverage on this. More is not necessarily better, but you have to have complete coverage. And what I'm doing is I'm pushing the medium to the edge, which will make sure that I get a proper seal. Then I'll put it inside a book press or my flower press. You can also just put telephone books on top. I can hear Mia downstairs chewing ice cubes. You know what, this is too big. I thought I sized this. It doesn't look like I sized it. Oopsie. There we go. Now because I'm going to take little itty bitty bits of all the spreads. That's a lot of itty bitty bits to put on here. So I'm going to put another layer of decoupage right on top, which will also seal the page to the cover. Just lift it up a little bit here. This will just add extra strength to it. And with every page that I'm going to do, I'm going to add some of that page to the cover. Whether it be embellishments, metal, whatever. Just feeling to make sure there's no air bubbles. We've got good contact. And immediately get a baby wipe to wipe the decoupage off my fingers. Put that aside to dry for a sec. You can put on as many layers of decoupage medium as you want. Thin, even layers though. That way it'll dry properly. When you got something with many, like a lot of thicknesses on it, like this page has got many layers of paint, go one direction, go in another direction, that way you're getting into all the nooks and crannies. Making sure I got a good seal going on. This will also change the texture of the decoupage, so when I put paint on it as I go on, it'll look a little bit different. Remove any excess. Dries clear. Okay. So what I can do at this point is I can, keep going and decorate this, or I can leave it the way it is. I think what I'm going to do though is when this is dry, I'm going to put a layer of glazing medium on here, because this book is going to have so many layers. It'd be nice if it was really rich and intense. So with glazing medium between each painted layer, you'll add that additional depth. So I'm going to let this dry for about, this will need probably about 15 minutes to dry. And then we come back, put the glazing medium on. Actually, we'll paint the edges, then the glazing medium. To truly test this paint, why don't we try with the glazing on the edges with Traditions transparent red iron oxide. Make a nice dark edge. And I'll add glazing medium to it. Actually, no, to this one I won't. No, this one I won't. I just want to basically paint the edges, fan that out. Because the decoupage is on there, it's already slick, so I'm not going to have any worries about this. That's beautiful. Now, although the theme of the book itself is basically just a book of backgrounds, and I'm going to show you, it's more of a technique workshop. We will be creating journal pages, but everything will be focused on technique. And so there really isn't a set theme for the actual journal, but I like my stuff to look vintage. And transparent red iron oxide instantly does that. And I've got some wrinkles in the paper, which is totally fine. So I'm just fanning it like that. And then what I'm going to do is when that dries, then I'm going to put the glazing medium on top. And each of your covers will look different. Hopefully you've got some paper under your table so you're doing this as well. And if you didn't, like I know with me, I think I changed my paper a couple of times until I figured out what I was going to do with the covers. Fan brush would have been much nicer with this. I think I got too much deep red there. There we go. Now this, I'm going to get this one now, baby wipe, and let's just remove little bits of paint, primarily where the bumps are. Okay, this one, I wonder if it's, you got to do this when it's tacky dry. There we go. Don't wipe everything off, just little bits here and there. Okay. I'm going to set this with the heat gun, and then I'm going to apply the glazing medium, and then that'll take care of that. And the other one. When the glazing medium goes on top and that's dry, then I'm going to put one final layer of yellow, transparent yellow iron oxide, which will set this as a glow. And it'll be finished. Okay, do I have a big brush? Yes, I do. Preferably a clean big brush. Remove the excess water. And I'm just going to put it right on top of here because I've got the two backgrounds. That's way too much, but now this stuff here, thin, again, thin, many thin even layers. This creates a barrier. It actually leaves a solid behind. So it creates a barrier. So think of a painting with sheets of transparent film in between, which raises everything up so, even though it's a small amount, that it creates a distance, like the barrier. The more layers that you put on and the more transparent your paint is that you've got so much light shining through, and it's very, very luminescent. This stuff's amazing glazing. That's why it's called glazing medium. But don't be tempted to make a really, really thick layer. Thin, even layers are better. And always read the product directions when using stuff for the first time. I know this part's boring, but I just want to show you everything. You can always fast forward the video if you want. You can see some wrinkles here with the paper. Leaving that, totally love it. There we go. Alright, gonna let that dry, and then I'm gonna come in, where's my paint? Transparent yellow iron oxide over everything. Another layer of glazing medium, and we're finished. Okay, that took about 30 minutes to dry. Now I'm gonna take, I can use the same brush, it's no big deal. Transparent yellow iron oxide over the whole thing. And then a layer of glazing medium, and then that'll be it. Then from that point forward, every piece I do in the journal, something will add on to the cover. I won't be binding the covers yet, because as I'm working in the journal, I'll take paint and put it to the covers and put them aside, because if I actually bind it and then put the paint on the covers, then I basically have to wait, or put whatever I want on the covers, and I'll have to wait until they're finished before I can open up the book. I'm just going to use a mop brush just to remove any excess paint. It'll also speed up the drying time without removing paint. Just takes up a little bit of the excess. Put that aside. That's a nice noise. You can also add glazing medium to the paint. Actually, let's do that just so I can show you. You can tell I'm not left-handed. Let me mix that up right in there. Makes the paint even more transparent. So now, even though I'm adding the glazing medium to the paint, I will still, when this is dry, add another layer of glazing medium. So for every painted layer I do, I will add glazing medium. Now there's also a notice on the bottle to use caution on dark backgrounds. I don't know why, and I should find out from Deco Art, because this is non-yellowing, so it won't change the color of the background, but it would be. I've never had, ever had a problem with glazing medium on a dark background, so I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure what it is. Get another dusting brush. There we are. Okay, so that's it for the paint. So let this stuff dry. When it's dry, I'll put another layer of glazing medium, and then we'll come back and I'll finish up the video. Standing up to do the rest of the project because I have to measure stuff out. So this is now dry. I'm going to get 2 fresh pieces of wax paper, the size of the actual journal. Actually, it's the same size going either way, so it'll have to go like that. And all it is I'm going to put it inside the book, the flower press, which will flatten the book out overnight. So the flower press that I'm using, I picked up at Lee Valley, and it's, I believe, oh, you know what? Will it fit? Holy smokes, look at that. It just fits. The cardboard, though, I think is too small. Oh, it might be okay. So I'm just going to, 2 pieces of cardboard. And this is going to shimmy around. That there's no getting around that. Unless I tape the cardboard down. And this is just, I'm just doing this, it depend, as you go on and start painting on it, it's probably going to bend anyways, but I'm just basically want to flatten it out. Now, oh, something had paint on it. And I need one more piece. Oh, let me just put 1 piece of cardboard inside, and then with a piece of wax paper. I'm going overkill on the wax paper because I don't want to ruin the cardboard or anything else that's on here. It's hard enough to cut cardboard in the first place. I don't want it covered in paint. Plus, these pieces of wax paper I can use while doing the actual projects, the actual pages. And that inside. This is the part that takes muscle. Okay. You can put your covers inside, or old telephone books on top of your covers. That's fine. Go. That's set. And that's it. I will leave that until I'm ready to get to it. The longer the better. It's always great to check your covers as you go. But yeah, I'll just leave this, I'll let this sit overnight because I'm going to start working on other backgrounds that didn't fit in here. So what I'm going to be doing is, oopsie, I have this now. And let me just get, so I've got this recollections piece. I was always wondering what to do with it. It came with binder rings. So it's just a chipboard set with 1, 2, I'll take my glasses off, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 covers. 1, 2, 3, 4 covers. So this would make 2 journals, or ones with hard pieces in the middle. This is a whole chipboard set. And it's got tabs. And then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. So I can use this for my covers, and I already did one, and then I'll just punch it and put it in there. What I think I'm going to do is, when I do the punching, is to put eyelets. That would look really, really cool. And that would just sit inside. So I've got all these pieces already cut up for additional stuff that I want to demonstrate. So let's say there's a part of there's a page that we're going to get to embellish, and then, because I do a lot of my techniques based on feedback that I get, and let's say somebody's asking a question that I haven't covered, I can then demonstrate it on here, which is a fresh sheet. I will also then take I'll cut up some small pieces for this as well. What is next to do though is we want to start doing some miniature backgrounds, and which will be for our tags and envelopes and stuff like that for putting inside our journal pages. And you can use the techniques that I've already showed you over the last I think this is video 24 or 25, 21, 22, 23. This is video 24. So any of the videos from 1 to 23 you can use for the small, I'll call them embellishment pieces that we're going to use. But I'm going to do a couple of demonstrations on using things like watercolor crayons and what else? I'm just looking over. Suminagashi is the big one that I want to do. Watercolor pencils, Inktense blocks and stuff like that. All that stuff I don't use an awful lot because I'm an acrylic and oil painter. But a lot of people have that stuff, so I'm going to show you how I use it. And we're going to do those, the Suminagashi especially, on small pieces. And then we can cut those pieces out to create our envelopes or tags and stuff like that as we go on. Okay, because we don't necessarily have to go out and buy all the embellishments. A lot of them we can make ourselves, and just with found items around the home. So that's about it for this video. So gussy up your covers. If you've made your own hand-bound journal, you don't even need to do anything with your covers, or you can just apply one layer of paint just to get it started, to get rid of the blank white page. And I'll show you the journal that I made for the videos. So these are the 3 journals that I made in the very beginning. Okay, and this one here is already set to go. This is one with the pockets inside, and this one's ready to go. You don't even need to do anything on here. But as you start going through, now your pages should already have the backgrounds on them, and a book this size, you will have some left over, which is totally fine. And then as you do each page, then take something from whatever the page is, whether it's the paint, the embellishment, whatever, and add that to the front. Now, a cover this small, it is going to build up quite quickly. So as you go down the page, and if the cover is at a point where you like it the way it is, then leave it. You can then take whatever's left over, paint, whatever, go to a blank part in your journal and just paint another page. Okay? And then these are just blank blanks. Now I do want to show you another journal that I made. This is not a new idea, but I saw this on Effie Wild's, she's doing a Book of Days project, and this is again, this is not new, a new technique, but just this is how she did her journals, by just wrapping canvas around it, which is kind of cool. Tore the canvas, and it's ready to go. So there's another alternative, and I've made, oh, where is it? I'll have to, where did it go? Let me bring up my color theory book, which shows another take on this. So this is the one from Effie's Book of Days. It's just torn canvas, okay? And this is one that I did. I have this video up online. Now this is one this is a prototype, and it started off like that, and then I just kept adding signatures to it. So all these extra pieces, I just added signatures. And this is the color theory, my color theory book. And these are all the color mixes that I create, notes that I make. If there's a specific artist that I'm studying with, I will put down their palette in here. And there's a particular one which I really like. Just to show you how detailed I'll go. Oh, here we go. So I even took notes, and but basically the zinc white that Da Vinci used, and this is Lilladal, John, I don't know if I'm pronouncing her last name right, Johnny Lilladal. All the notes she's passed on, which is a shame, because amazing artist. Her portrait mixes. This is John Howard Sandon. I've studied a lot he's really the one that got me going on the more the fine portrait colors. Daniel Green, him as well. And so you can just see that this is a journal, which is really just my notes and color mixes. The other one is Sargent and London Art Gallery, Valerie Stewart. I watched just a few of her things. And let's see, what else have we got here? And then I go on to even with my pastel